G'day everyone. In this video I'm going to be reviewing my motorbike, my 2021 Royal Enfield Himalayan. Hey you! You're watching Robbie Fishing. Right folks, for those of you that have landed on this video while searching for Royal Enfield Himalayan, welcome to my YouTube channel, Robbie Fishing. This isn't a motorbike channel, this is a fishing channel. If you are searching for motorbikes and you don't like fishing, you might not want to stay. But if you happen to like fishing and the outdoors, you might want to consider checking out some of my other videos and perhaps even subscribing. The reason I'm reviewing my Royal Enfield motorbike, I'll be 100% honest, is because as a YouTuber, this will help me reach a few people that wouldn't otherwise see my channel, and I just hope that it might get a few views, earn a little bit of revenue and help support me on my fishing adventures. That's the only reason. There's no bias, no sponsorship, no nothing. Anyway, let me show you around my Royal Enfield. Right, now here it is, my 2021 Royal Enfield Himalayan. Now this is a layman's review. It's a review in the eyes of a fisherman that wants to go out the bush on a motorbike. A part-time bikie that just likes riding two wheels. I'm not a serious motorbike enthusiast. I enjoy riding motorbikes, but it's not my number one hobby. That is fishing, followed by photography and bushwalking and motorbike riding. The 2021 Royal Enfield Himalayan, it's 410cc, 4-stroke, single cylinder, fuel injected. Now, there's things about this bike I absolutely love and things I don't love. It's basic. It's a simple bike. That's one of the things that I love. Before I go into the good points, I'll just tell you a couple of things that I aren't really impressed with. If you look at, the steering's probably locked. If you look up here on the dashboard, you'll see there is a compass, a fuel tank, a tacho, a speedo, and then there's a little digital speedo in there with your kilometers and all that sort of jazz. Speedo works very, very well. I've never actually checked it against a GPS or anything, but it seems to be very accurate. Fuel gauge works fine, tacho works fine. The compass is absolutely useless. You wouldn't buy it for the compass. It's only got one button that I can change things with, and I can't work out how to change the clock. It's a little bit too technical for me, but that's okay. I usually wear a watch or carry a phone anyway. Now, some models come with selectable ABS. This doesn't. This has got full-time ABS, but some of the models, this little button over here, you can turn the ABS on and off. That doesn't bother me. That might bother the more motorbike enthusiasts that want to be able to lock the back wheel up on dirt roads, but for an average part-time rider, that doesn't bother me at all. But the tacho is useless. The compass is useless. It doesn't tell you I'll be heading north and it tells me I'm going south. But thankfully I've got a good sense of direction, so I know where I'm going. The other bit of a bugbear that I've got with it is the headlight. The headlight's not great. Where I bought mine, I went and got back and got Lincoln, the guy I bought it off to, adjust it, and he adjusted it up, but it's still not great. I'm not overly happy with the light. That's not a huge concern to me either, because I don't do a lot of night riding. It does work. I used it last night. It does work. It's practical. It does the job, but it's nothing fancy. Now, they're about the only two gripes that I've got with the bike. Everything else I'm pretty happy with. Yeah, it does seem to get a little bit of condensation in the under the speedo here, in here. Only when it's cold and only when I'm riding. I don't know what the go is there, and it's not that bad that I can't see anything. It's just, I just happen to notice. It's a bit like having a bit of dirt or something on your glasses. You just want to wipe them off. But other than that, everything is fine. I absolutely love it. But yeah, now these are the things that I was looking for when I bought this bike that I just could not find online. How fast does it go? How comfortable is it? How much acceleration has it got? Has it got any overtaking power? These are the things that I wanted to know. And fuel economy. Now, it sits on 100 kilometers an hour, no worries at all. I'll give you a bit of a demonstration in a moment. I don't know how well the video is going to come out. I've got my other GoPro, my Hero 7, mounted to the top of this helmet. I don't wear this helmet very often because I don't like the closed face. I get a bit claustrophobic, and being an asthmatic, I just love having an open face helmet. So I normally just wear a basic black helmet with a visor. But I've worn this today so that I can put the camera on top and film from above. I don't know how the footage is going to come out, but I will share it with you. Right, now I'm going to go from 0 to 100. When I get to 100, I'll give you a thumbs up. Right, here we go. gets from 0 to 100, no worries at all. I've had it up to 120 while overtaking a car once. It'll sit on 110 on the freeway, no worries. There's not a lot left in it. It's got a little bit left. It'll sit on 100 all day without any problems whatsoever. And when I'm on the freeway, I prefer to sit on 100 rather than 110 because it just feels safer. It just feels a bit more comfortable. At 110, you really are at high revs, and it sort of feels like it's just things are going to start flying off it. It just feels more comfortable at 100, although I have sat on 110 without too many problems. The only modification I've got on this entire bike that you might notice is a GoPro mount here where I filmed some of my fishing adventures from. I put it there, it just catches the front wheel, and I filmed some of my fishing adventures from in there. So performance wise, 0 to 100, no worries at all. It'll sit on 100 all day without any issues. It will sit on 110, but it's a bit rough. You might struggle for overtaking power once you get out to around about 100. If you're on a 100k zone and you want to overtake somebody doing 90, you're going to want a bit of room. It hasn't got a lot of grunt at that top end because you sort of are at the top end of what it can do. Now, what I do want to do is just tell you what I have come from. I think when you watch motorbike reviews, it's good and well for people to say, oh, it's really slow, or it's really fast, or it's not comfortable, but you don't know their history. You don't know what sort of motorbikes they've come from. In the past, now I'm not a full-time bikie. When I was younger, I had a Honda XL250, steel tank dirt bike, 1982 model. It was a great bike, done everything I wanted it to do, and it was awesome. I didn't have a bike for quite a long time. I then bought a Hyosung Aquila 250 Cruiser. It was an absolute piece of shit. I absolutely hated that bike. I then bought a Yamaha Striker 1300cc. It was absolutely beautiful, loved it. Had heaps and heaps of power as you'd expect for a 1300cc to have. Belt driven, it was the torque monster. But for me, it wasn't practical because I couldn't take it on dirt roads and stuff. But it was a beautiful bike, no issues whatsoever. And now this, which I'm very happy with. Now, being 410cc, you'd expect it to have a lot more grunt than the Aquila 250, and it has got quite a bit more grunt than that Aquila. But it doesn't have a lot more grunt than what the old Honda XL 250 had. The 250 went quite well. It sat on 100 without too many problems as well. It does have more grunt, but not as much more as you'd probably expect. But the thing I like the most about this bike is the fuel tank. When I was looking for this bike, there was a few bikes I was looking at. One of them was a DRZ 400. I think it's a Suzuki. It's a yellow tank, but it only comes with an 11-litre fuel tank. This comes with a 15-litre fuel tank. Now, by all the reviews that I read and watched on YouTube, the DRZ goes a lot faster. It's better for single track. That's more of a trail bike. This is more of an all-rounder. But the big fuel tank was the one of the selling points for me, and so too was the $8,000 price tag. The other things I like about this bike, it's a pack horse. It is an absolute pack horse when I go out the bush. These brackets here that come as part of the bike, you can actually attach fuel tanks or water bottles to them. You can put panniers on the back here. You can put a carry box on the top. You can just carry so much stuff. And I just interrupt myself, and I will add, when I said before there was no other modifications, there are, sorry, these crash bars. I got them put on when I bought the bike, just in case I drop the bike, which I haven't done, just to help protect the engine. But other than that, it's all sort of factory standard. But it is a pack horse that does the speed limit, and it does everything I want. You can see it's very dirty, and that's because I use it for what I bought it for, off-road riding. I bought this from Fast Fuels Motorcycles in Lavington, Lincoln. I highly recommend Lincoln. I was very, very impressed with his service, very happy with his service. He was honest, he was a good communicator, and he done the right thing by me, no problems at all. Now, I haven't done a huge amount of kilometres on the motorbike. I've only up to about 1,300. The reason being, I bought it in January, and then in March, I'd done my back really bad, and I just couldn't ride it for a couple of months. And I'll be honest, then it got cold, and I'm a bit of a fair weather bikie. So I like to take it out when the weather's nice. I'll be doing a lot more kilometres with it next summer and spring. I have taken it fishing a few times. It handles the dirt roads, no problems at all. Dirt roads, off-road. Basically, what I wanted and what I got is the two-wheel version of a four-wheel drive. Something that can just go off the track, go up some steep hills, go into some remote areas, and go fishing off the beaten track without too many problems. I think it would handle single trail, but I don't think that's what it's designed for, and it's a lot heavier than, say, the other dirt bikes like the WR and the DRZ and those sort of bikes, the 250s. This is much heavier, it's bigger and bulkier, and probably a bit more sluggish in that environment. I will do it, but it's not really what it's designed for. It's designed as an off-road all-rounder. As I said, a two-wheel version of a four-wheel drive. Now, one of the things that I really do love about this bike is the fuel economy. No one really spoke about this when I bought it. The 15-litre tank gets me around about 500 kilometres or thereabouts. I've ridden from Wangaratta right up to the back. I filled it up. I rode all the way up to Lake William Hovell, which is in the hills right over there behind them trees, about 70 or 80 kilometres away. I rode all the way up to the back of the lake, then all the way, I went fishing and swimming, then I came all the way back and filled it up. $6.50 for a couple of 100 kilometres. Now, granted, I was running it in and I wasn't going any more than about 80 kilometres an hour. But even at 100 kilometres an hour, it wouldn't have used a whole lot more. It's very, very cheap and economical to run. My Yamaha Striker, I loved it, but it wasn't much cheaper to run than just a little four-cylinder car. This runs on the smell of an oily rag, and at a time of where petrol prices are so high, that's very, very important. One other thing I'm not overly keen on is the stand. The little plate here is a little bit too small. I wish this stand plate sort of was quite a bit bigger. In fact, when I parked here, I tried to sit it on that rock, but I missed. But I realised the ground was quite firm anyway. You've got to be careful when if it's dirt or because it's a heavy bike, if the ground's soft, you've got to be really careful where you stand it. And it does seem to sit upright. There's just something about the stand I'm not overly sort of comfortable with. I don't know what that is. I just can't quite pin it. But it's not too much of a problem anyway. But folks, from a layman's perspective, from the perspective of an outdoorsman that just wants to go fishing and wants a bike that can go up the bush, this is ideal and I highly recommend it. I paid $8,000 for it on the road, brand new. You can't complain with that. It starts every time, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, it'll start first time every time, no issues. My highest sung Aquila, the little 250 that I had, even though I've only done 1,300 kilometres on this, by the time I'd done 1,300 kilometres on that highest sung, I was already having a mountain of issues with it. It was pinging, it wasn't starting when I wanted it to start, it was just stroking, it was choking for fuel, and with less than 5,000 kilometres on it, the exhaust pipe caught fire. This is showing no issues whatsoever of any sort of performance issues. It starts when I want it to start, it stops when I want it to stop, it turns when I want it to turn. If you want a motorbike with Bluetooth and all that fancy jazz, this probably isn't the bike that you want. If you want a basic bike that'll go out the bush and do what you want it to do, this is great. If you want a bike for camping, going up the bush and camping, this is ideal simply because of all the carrying capacity, the extras you can get. If you watch some of the other videos, there's a lady from over in Europe called Itchy Boots. I was watching a lot of her videos when I was researching this bike. She actually carries a fuel tank, 2 fuel tanks on the side, or 1 fuel and 1 water. You can actually carry spare fuel and water, as well as your panniers and camping stuff. I've taken this out the bush fishing with backpacks and stuff on the back here, full of fishing gear, change of clothes and everything. It does the job perfect. I don't know whether you can hear me here or not, but one thing I didn't talk about was the seat. In some reviews, people said the seat wasn't comfortable, but I haven't had any issues whatsoever. I don't know whether I've just easily pleased or what, but I haven't had any issues with comfort. It's fine by me. Folks, if you want the tech specs, Google them. Go to the Royal Enfield website, watch all the other Royal Enfield videos. But if you just want to get a layman's review, that's my layman's review. I love the bike, I'm happy with it. I wouldn't hesitate to buy another, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend Fast Fuels Motorcycles in Albury because they help me out a lot. Now, like I said at the start of the video, if you're a motorbike enthusiast and you're not into fishing, you might enjoy this video, but you might not enjoy the rest. But if you happen to like fishing and the outdoors, consider checking out some of my other videos and hitting the subscribe button if you've liked what you've seen. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I hope you've found this video useful and informative, and I hope I've answered the questions that you've been looking for while researching the Royal Enfield Himalayan.